good friend of mine just jetted in. His name is Nev, and we're going to kick things off now. This is Nev, Rave. So please welcome to the stage, Nev!
Jamie, I was meant to get some intro music. We'll right, forget that this happened and I'll just come on again. And so forget he...
Sorry.
Okay, right, so Jamie, come on. Don't worry, it's not your fault, it's his, so don't worry. Jamie, if you want to come, yeah. So just pretend you've not seen me, and then, okay, right, thank you. See you in 2 minutes.
Friends people there, but we'll probably walk up. So, all that with intro music. This guy's just jetted in with intro music. This is a good friend of mine, Nev Rave!
Oh, thank you, beautiful Glaswegian people. So this is Rave, my name's Nev, and I started drinking in order to meet women, and I continue to drink because I know I'll die alone. Has anyone else noticed how the chronological order of the Beastie Boys albums perfectly describes a typical night out? Anyone else noticed this? I think that my problem is I'm only interested in women that can name at least 4 members of the Wu-Tang Clan. Ain't no. So, the chronological order of the Beastie Boys albums, they perfectly describe a typical night out. Allow me to demonstrate. So, you get the text to go out, licensed to L. You get suited and booted, dressed up real nice, Paul's Boutique. You have a little bit of drink in the house, but not enough that they don't let you into the club. Check your head. You have a little bit more to drink in the nightclub. You start chatting up someone. Ill communication. You have a little bit more to drink. You get off with someone. Hello, nasty. You have a little bit more to drink. You get flung out by the bouncer to the 5 boroughs. You're out in the middle of the street. You don't know where you are. You black out. The mix up. And then when you wake up, there's a kebab in your bed sheets. Hot sauce committee. For the eagle-eyed of you, you'll notice I don't have a copy of the mix-up. That's because it's a purely instrumental album, thus shite. And if there's any Beastie Boys fans disappointed I didn't do any compilations or EPs, that's just the same old bullshit. That's a joke. 2 people, and one of them's on stage. So, what do I want to talk about tonight? The Pied Piper, he led the rats away using his pipe music, doesn't he? But with our modern science, we know that it's not the rats that are the issue, it's the fleas, isn't it? So what sort of music are the fleas into? Well, what I'd like to do is conduct an experiment tonight to determine what sort of music fleas are into. Madam, what's your favourite drum machine? Do you like the Roland TB 303? Do you like the Roland 303? At least 2 members of Run DMC. So what I have here is I have some genuine Scottish lady hair containing genuine Scottish lady fleas. I will play some music to it and we'll see if it gets a reaction. Okay, you didn't really like the Roland TB303. Do you like the Roland TR808? Do you like the Roland 808? 303, we'll try that one. No reaction. Okay. We'll try the 808. No reaction. At least one member of Eric B. and/or Ricky. What about the? Did you know that Henry VIII? He wrote that Greensleeve song. You know the. Henry VIII wrote that song in order to woo Anne Boleyn. Do you know this? In fact, it's true, isn't it, that Henry VIII invented all musical genres and musical forms in order to impress women, didn't he? He invented the Roland 303, named after his ancestor Henry III. He invented the 808, named that after himself. And he invented the Roland TR 909. Nothing. He invented the 909 after the air you wish to have. What's that? A woman down here. You're angry that I've missed out the Roland 606. Well, to be honest with you, madam, the 606 never defined the sound like the 303, the 808, or the 909. Okay, so that's why. No, that's true. Seminal 1980s band Big Black did use it on this album. Me and you know that. These other people, they probably only know your more common or garden drum machines. So Henry VIII, he invented all musical form and genre. I'd like to demonstrate that now. So here's a list of his wives. First of all, there was Catherine of Aragon, and before Catherine of Aragon, there was no music. For Anne Boleyn came next, and as I've told you, Anne Boleyn, he invented green sleeves. That's the one that goes. So what Henry VIII did was he drove his ice cream van under Anne Boleyn's window. He played her green sleeve. She came running down. Okay, she liked Classic 99 with the flag. After that, we had Jane Seymour. For Jane Seymour, Henry VIII invented blues music, which sort of went like how. So he invented blues music. What he did was he drove his ice cream van under her window. He played her some blues music. She came running down. She liked an ice cream sandwich. A bit complicated, Jane Seymour. Next off, there was Anne of Cleves, and for Anne of Cleves, Henry VIII invented jazz music, which sort of sounded like. So he invented jazz music. What he did was he drove his ice cream van under her window. She came running down. She liked raspberry sorbet, a bit classy. After that, there was of course Catherine Howard. For Catherine Howard, Henry VIII invented death metal, which sounded a little bit like. So what he did was he drove his ice cream van under her window, played her some death metal. She came running down. She liked mint chocolate. Then of course there was Catherine Parr, and Catherine Parr, she was from Croydon, as you all know. So for Catherine Parr, Henry VIII invented dubstep, which sort of went. So what he did was he drove his ice cream van under her window. She came running downstairs, and she liked a sixth type of ice cream. But Henry VIII, he didn't learn, did he? Henry VIII didn't know. It was not the music that was wooing the women, it was the ice cream, wasn't it? Women love ice cream. We know this from bad American sitcoms. When a woman's sad, she'll console herself with a giant tub of ice cream. Because ice cream will never be insensitive or uncaring. Ice cream will never break your heart, at least emotionally. Ice cream will never divorce you. Ice cream will never behead you either. So let's try this out. Ice cream. Well, it's getting some movement. Lice cream. Oh, it stops. So, from one tyrannical, bearded man fond of wearing red to another, we're going to talk about the CEO of Death Row Records, Suge Knight. Death Row Records was a label in the 1990s that dealt exclusively with gangster rap. And we're going to talk about this because this Christmas I got 3 gifts. Okay, I got Death Row Greatest Hits Volume 1, Death Row Greatest Hits Volume 2, and Death Row Greatest Hits Christmas on Death Row. 3 gifts this Christmas, and just like the baby Jesus, they get progressively worse as they go on. So, Volume 1, this is gold. This is all the classics. It's got Lady of Rage, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Ice Cube. It's a good album, it's a good album. The only problem is the inside picture, the painting on the inside is possibly the worst thing ever done. This is the genuine, for what you can see there. That's just, and okay, Mr. Suge Knight, if you ever see this, I'm not trying to dish you, okay, but this ain't Hans Holbein, alright? The company is called Death Row, but you don't really need to use outsider art. No? Okay. So, Death Row Greatest Hits Volume 2, okay, that's Frankincense. It's a little bit more hit and miss. There's some good songs, there's some bad songs. Once again, Mr. Suge Knight, I don't mean to step to you, but the quality control on this record is lax. And then, of course, we come to Christmas on Death Row. This is Myrrh, most definitely, and Christmas on Death Row. You can see there, the album cover is a man on death row in the electric chair getting electrocuted with tinsel around him. Now, what you expect from this record is some naughty gangster rap, festive hijinks. What you get is just some bad R&B covers of Christmas carols. This CD is possibly the most disappointing artifact in human history. Mr. Suge Knight, I don't mean to start a beef with you, but I don't expect something of this good taste from your company. So, Suge Knight, he's a dangerous man with alleged links to the Bloods, police corruption, and the still unsolved murders of Biggie and Tupac. But worst of all, for a man that looks like a gangster Santa, he ruined my Christmas. I'm not the only one who has suffered at Christmas though. Over Christmas in 1972, Richard Nixon ordered the single heaviest bombing campaign of the entire Vietnam War. And 40 years later, there are still people in Vietnam suffering deformities and cancers because of the toxins used. But in this country, the next year, we had Slade topping the charts. So in many ways, I think the Vietnamese got it easy in comparison. Oh, that Richard Nixon, where's his Christmas spirit? Bomb them, yes, but do it Christmassy. Maybe play Christmas jingles over the helicopter speakers, like I Dream of a White Phosphorus Christmas. Like a scene from Apocalypse Noel. Over Christmas in 1979, the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan began, and the Mujahideen rebel fighters were trained by American arms and money, and they used that war as a training ground for the next 30 years of international Islamic terrorism. But in this country, the next year, we had, there's nobody quite like Grandma topping the charts. And to be honest, any society that can produce such a record deserves to be put on jihad. So, in many ways, any of the Afghanis that suffered, or anybody that's died due to international terrorism in the last 30 years got it easy in comparison, I would say. All that Brezhnev, you know, where's his Christmas spirit? Invade Afghanistan, yes, but do it Christmassy, maybe have the Soviet tanks pulled by reindeer. Like a scene from Rambo, 3 French hens. And over Christmas in 1989, the Romanian peoples had a revolution and they overthrew their brutal dictator of 4 decades. And what they did was they assassinated him live on television. Okay. But the previous year in this country, we had Cliff Richard with Mistletoe and Wine topping charts. So in many ways, the Romanian peoples, and subsequently the Ceausescus themselves, I think got it easy in comparison. I mean, all these Romanian peoples, where's their Christmas spirit? Assassinate your brutal dictator on live television, yes, but do it Christmassy. Maybe have Morecambe and Wise present it. But Tupac is a hologram these days because of Suge Knight. And according to the rules of Red Dwarf, of course, that means that the H in Fog Life stands for hologram. The hologram you give little infants fucks everything. Tupac's a hologram these days. They didn't have enough projectors to make a Tupac, Notorious B.I.G. hologram. Here's a Tupac joke for you. Your man Tupac is walking down the street, and it's getting cloudy, and a wee old woman opens a window above him and looks down at him and says to your man Tupac, "Tupac, son, what's the weather going to get like later?" And Tupac looks up and goes, "Hail Mary!" Little Tupac joke there. I've not really thought about a Notorious B.I.G. joke. How does the Notorious B like his steaks? Hypnotised? No. How does the Notorious B.I.G. like his steaks? Big Potter? No. How does the Notorious B.I.G. like his steaks? Juicy? Oh, it's a keeper! Yes! Okay, juicy. But Tupac's a hologram, and you've seen these holograms walking around. Not like the holograms we used to have in the past. These young people's holograms made of light and magnets, compared to the holograms we had in the past, made of glass and coloured sand. And probably like me, quite angry that these holograms are walking around, because probably like me, maybe your fathers or your grandfathers or your great-grandfathers probably worked in one of the old hologram factories that Scotland used to have. That wasn't until Thatcher shut them all down, didn't she? Thatcher shut down all the hologram factories, which is ironic because David Cameron is our first hologram Prime Minister. With his dead eyes and his smooth yogurt face. David Cameron always looks like he's on the verge of pixelating. Truly, he is the Polar Express of world leaders. I don't really know about that joke, to be honest. It's sort of like a topical panel show joke, you know. I just described the politician's appearance without saying anything remotely political. It's the joke equivalent of walking across a peat bog and commenting on the smell, but ignoring all the dead bodies floating underneath. That David Cameron, he looks like a Kraftwerk album cover. Oh, they're taking away our civil liberties. And that George Osborne, he looks like a American serial killer who's forgot his clown makeup. Oh, this peat bog is pongo. Oh dear. And somebody once said to me, Dave Cameron, he's not a hologram, he looks like a pod person, a visitor from outer space. And he's wrong, because it's not David Cameron that's an alien, it's the royal family. At least according to ex-goalkeeper David Icke. Space lizards, more specifically. And maybe you're sitting out there and you're thinking, that doesn't make much sense, old David's taking too many boys to the heat. But then the evidence starts stacking up, doesn't it? The Queen Mother, she broke all those hips and regrew them. If you remember, recently there was some concern over whether Kate's womb could sustain a half lizard, half millionaire commoner's fetus. And do you remember when George was born? He was a giant egg, wasn't he? Do you remember? The royal family are often said to be blue bloods. This is code for cold-blooded. That's why the Queen only becomes active under a heat lamp. And if you put a keyboard in front of a lizard it would instinctively play. It's called Green Sleeves for a reason. But the biggest evidence against the royal family is in the Queen's own name. Okay? So, this is the Queen's name. It's Elizabeth Alexandria Mary II. And if you rearrange just some of the letters, okay, you get lizard, alright? And if you add in Windsor, okay, like so, if you add in Windsor and you rearrange some of the letters, you get lizard aliens hate, alright? And if you add in Queen, alright, you get lizard aliens hate man, okay? That's if you add Queen, and if you add King, which is the opposite of Queen, you get lizard aliens hate mankind. See? There's your evidence. It's all there. She's a lizard. And the rest of the letters must be her home planet or something. So, David Cameron is not an alien like the royal family. He's a cyborg. And for that reason alone, he is hated by the Unabomber. Now, if you don't know who the Unabomber is, he was a domestic terrorist in America throughout the 80s and 90s, and he lived a hermit's lifestyle, and he was against the progress of technology. So what he did was he sent homemade bombs to various places that would progress technology, so universities, airports, computer manufacturers, this sort of thing. But I think the man that they've got in jail is innocent, okay? This is a profile of the Unabomber there, you can just see him. Now the man they've got in jail is innocent. And I know this because I was in Edinburgh a few years ago during the Fringe, and I met this girl, alright, and she said, I've got a free ticket for a show, do you want to come see it? And I agreed, because she was, she's a nice girl, but it turned out to be that guy, the roadshow man. You know, the roadshow man, you see him on BBC Two with his chat show and everything. And the thing about the roadshow man is, I just can't really relate to him. His are sort of middle class gripes against faulty domestic appliances. But I was with this girl, and I thought, I'll try to impress her. I'll try to write some material like roadshow man. So I'm in my kitchen, and I'm waiting to be annoyed. And then suddenly this blind rage takes control of my body, roadshow man's rage, and I smashed everything in the kitchen. I smashed the dishwasher, the dryer, the toaster, I smashed everything. I smashed the VHS player, the DVD player, and the Blu-ray player, because what I like to do is I like to watch a trilogy of films, but the quality of the film is reflected in the format I watch it on. So, somebody wants to shout out a name of a trilogy of a film, I'll demonstrate. Anybody? Back to the Future. Okay, so Back to the Future 1, Blu-ray, Back to the Future 2, DVD, Back to the Future 3, VHS. That's what I do. Another example, if someone wants to shout out. Toy Story. Toy Story, okay. Toy Story. Ooh. Toy Story 1, Blu-ray, Toy Story 3, DVD, Toy Story 2, Betamax. Because I like the cartoon Buzz Adventure or whatever, that's better. So anyway, I'm in the kitchen, I'm smashing everything up, and I suddenly realised I can't become a terrorist, I can't wage a war against technology, because my life has been affected by terrorism. A friend of mine, he worked in a fork factory, and a bomb was sent to them, an explosion, and the forks are going everywhere. And he was disfigured, and he looked like, okay, if he was a microwavable meal, he would be suitably defrosted. Another friend of mine, he worked in the adjoining knife factory. Explosion happened, the knives go everywhere, he's deformed. He looked like, you know, on a zebra, the stripes. Imagine you could see the stripes of a zebra from inside the zebra. That's sort of it. I worked in the spoon factory, this was the cutlery district. But luckily, on the day of the explosion, that was our annual visit from Yuri Geller. So I was spared. So I can't wage a war against technology like Unabomber, or should I say, Roadshow Man? He hates technology, he's an evil man. So I'm in Edinburgh, with this girl. We decide to go to the cinema. We go to see a film called Shadow Dancer. Fairly forgettable film, but it stars the beautiful Angela Riseborough, English actress. And in it she plays an IRA bomber. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching the beautiful Angela Riseborough, and I'm thinking to myself, could I love a terrorist? And I think I could. I think it's probably easier if the name of the terrorist organisation sounds like a woman's name. So you've got Ira, you've got Etta, and you've got Hezbollah Sheila. So I sort of went on a binge and I started watching a lot of these Angela Riseborough films. And I watched a TV show she was in called The Devil's Whore, in which she plays the beautiful Angela Riseborough. She plays a woman that's possessed by Satan. And I thought, if I could love a terrorist, could I love a bride of Satan? And I thought, I probably could. And then I saw her in another film called Resistance, in which she plays a Nazi collaborator. And I thought, could I love a woman as a Nazi collaborator? And I thought, well, I could love a terrorist, and I could love a bride of Satan, so I could probably love a Nazi sympathiser. But then I saw her in a TV movie called Margaret Thatcher, The Long Walk to Finchley. She plays a young Margaret Thatcher, and that's where I drew the line. Because I could love a woman that was a terrorist, I could love a woman that was a bride of Satan, I could love a woman that was a Nazi collaborator, but I couldn't love a Tory. Just like I couldn't love a fan of the Roadshow Man, but they're both the same, aren't they? But maybe the war against technology has already started. The war against humankind from technology, because 13 people a year, okay, are killed by vending machines falling on top of them. 13 people a year, that's more than sharks by a factor of 4. Okay? And sharks are dangerous. The great white shark is the only fish to be admitted into the Aryan Brotherhood. 13 people a year are killed by vending machines falling on top of them. I didn't understand that statistic until very recently, because we've got this new vending machine at our work, and this thing is the biggest cunt bastard I've ever had to deal with in my life. I'll tell you what happened. I was in the warehouse and I saw this new vending machine. I walked towards it, and then this voice from somewhere said, "Don't go near that vending machine, it's cursed." And I said, "What do you know? You're just a mannequin with an ancient Egyptian spirit caught inside." That's a reference to mannequin. So anyway, I go to this vending machine, and it's an old vending machine, okay? It's got marathon bars in it, it's got open fruits in it, and it's got like the Dead Sea Scrolls in it. It's an old vending machine, but I can see in the back of the vending machine, along the rack, I can see this hand sort of in the back. I can see these fingers, and I knew instantly that it was a monkey's paw. And if you know anything about monkey's paws, if you get a monkey's paw, it'll grant you a number of wishes. Now, admittedly, my experience of wish-granting paraphernalia is sketchy. Once I saw this rainbow, and I ran to the end of the rainbow, and Leprechaun said, "Oh, I'll grant you so much." And it turned out it was Jeremy Beadle. Jeremy Beadle was the presenter of sort of hidden camera pranks. He was sort of like Noel Edmonds, but there was a glimpse of humanity behind the eyes. So Leprechaun turned out to be Jeremy Beadle. Another time I found this magic lamp and I rubbed it, and a genie popped out. Once again, Jeremy Beadle, just painted blue. Easy mistake to make. And another time I was out fishing on this lake, and this fish jumped in my boat, and the fish said, "I'm a magic fish, I will grant you a number of wishes." Well, okay, so it basically turned out it was just Jeremy Beadle was pretending to be the lake, and he was like throwing fish into the boat. And the thing about this was, every time this happened, I never saw any TV cameras. I think Jeremy Beadle had a personal vendetta against me for whatever reason. I can only think of one reason. I once saw Jeremy Beadle when I was a little boy. I was up with my mummy, and Jeremy Beadle, by the way, had a deformed hand, and I was just a little boy and he was signing stuff, and I said to my mum, "Mummy, what's wrong with that man's hand?" Now, he must have heard that, okay, and waged a personal war against me for a number of years after that. You know what, Jeremy, I was just a little boy, I didn't know anything about the world, I didn't mean anything by it. It's good that you're dead, okay? It's just a little boy, I didn't know any better. Okay, so I'm at this vending machine, right? And I see this monkey's paw, right? But the thing is, this monkey's paw is behind a row of crunchies, right? And I hate crunchies. Crunchies are disgusting. Crunchies are only enjoyed by sexual deviants and preverts. If you eat more than 2 crunchies a week, you end up on the sex offenders register. What I like to do with a crunchie is like keep it in its wrapper, but like smash it up, right? And then throw it away. Because I wouldn't even give a crunchie to a homeless guy, because he's suffered enough. But this monkey's paw is behind this row of crunchies, and I need to get the monkey's paw. And oh fuck. We'll deal with that later. But it's behind this row of crunchies. And so every week I have to put in 50 pence, one crunchie, lands, crush it, bin it, lands, crush it, bin it. The hand's getting closer and closer and closer, and 13 people a year are killed by vending machines falling on top of them. And this is why, okay? So the hand is there, and I put in my final 50 pence, and it's going to drop, and then it sticks, okay? So I start hitting the vending machine, bouncing it back and forth. I need to get this hand, and it's bouncing off the wall, and I push it too hard, and it lands on top of me, and I'm pinned under this vending machine, and it's crushed all my guts and my bones, just like a crunchy still in its wrapper. And the hand rolls out onto my chest, okay? And I know what I need to do with this wish. I need to, get out of this situation. And then I look down at the hand, and it turns out to be a mannequin's hand, okay? But not even Kim Cattrall from Mannequin 1. It's the mannequin from Mannequin 2, played by a young David Cameron. See, you all thought it was going to be Jeremy Beadle's deformed hand, didn't you? You sickened me, Glasgow, that I would make fun of a man disability. I would never do that. You sickened me, Glasgow. But I've been having trouble sleeping recently. I've just moved house, and there's some noises keeping me up at night. In the garden, I can hear these foxes mating, right? Foxes mating is like, it's a horrible noise, but it's natural, so, it doesn't bother me that much. And on the roof, right, these seagulls have just had a chick, and they're feeding it in the morning, I can hear it, and it's a horrible noise. but it's natural, so it doesn't really bother me that much. And the house is also in the flight path of some helicopters returning to the nest. But you know, it's a natural thing, so it doesn't really bother me that much. But the one thing that does annoy me are these bagpipers that I can hear out the window. I hate bagpipers, they're just vermin, aren't they? An urban menace that they are. I hate them. They make the city disgraceful. And what these bagpipers do, right, is they come into my garden, they run along the wall, they're like knocking over my wheelie bins, and they're like digging in the garden and shitting in it, and fucking, I hate bagpipers. What we should do is we should cull all the bagpipers. Kelly Brook's husband or whatever should drive a van full of dead. No, I wasn't going to do that one either, but I did. Hello. So, well, we should kill all these bagpipers because they're vermin, and they're a big problem in cities. They're an urban menace. They say in Edinburgh that you're no more than 5 metres away from a bagpiper. And I think I don't like bagpipers. It's probably my own prejudice against them. Because you see, my grandfather was a farmer back in the old country, and they had a particularly bad harvest one year, and then all the rest of his crops were eaten by a swarm of bagpipers. And because of those bagpipers, my grandfather had to turn to crime. He opened up the farm to illegal raves, bare-knuckle barn boxing, bare-knuckle barn dancing, and global jihad training facilities. So because of bagpipers, my grandfather lost the farm and had to turn to crime. My other grandfather, he was like me, he was in showbiz. He was a writer for a sitcom, right? And it was a sitcom aimed at an older generation. And what he did was he wrote a script for them, sent it in, and it dealt very sensitively with his brother's torture as a POW. What happened was he was captured by the Japanese, my grandfather's brother, and what the Japanese did was they took a tin bath to the top of a hill and they put him in it and like shoved the tin bath down the hill. So my grandfather wrote this into this script for a sitcom about older people. But the way the bastards at Last of the Summer Wine butchered that storyline, it sickened him. Because you've all seen Last of the Summer Wine. In every single episode of Last of the Summer Wine, a tin bath rolls down a hill. And you're sitting there and you're laughing at the memory of a tortured man. You people sicken me. It happens in every episode of Last of the Summer Wine. And Last of the Summer Wine has been on since 1847. It happens in every single episode of Last of the Summer Wine. Now, I did that material once, and genuinely a guy came up to me and he said, I'm actually quite a big fan of Last of the Summer Wine, and I think you'll find it only happens in every third episode. And I said, well, thanks, because now you've made it into the end of that bit. And he said, don't include me in this. I said, well, I'm going to have to, won't I? And then what he did was he hit me in the back of the head, right? And I woke up in this dungeon, right? And I was like strapped into this tin bath. And what this guy did was he forced me to watch every single episode of Last of the Summer Wine. And you know what? In every single episode of Last of the Summer Wine, a fucking tin bath does go down a hill. Right? So he said, you're not going to use me in the routine now, are you? I said, no, because that's I will, because that's a good case of escalation. He said, please don't use me in the routine. And I said, well, I'm going to have to. And he said, well, you just want to be careful then, because if you're doing a long bit about Last of the Summer Wine, it might be lost on anybody that didn't fight in the Boer War. I said, well, don't worry about that, right? I'll just put in a young person's reference and I'll put them back in. He said, oh, you use a young person's reference. I said, yes, I'll say something like, I don't really understand these young people that they have these days. I especially don't understand their dancing, particularly this twerking that you have. You might have seen the twerking. Miley Cyrus does a lot of it. And so I was thinking about this. I was thinking about Miley Cyrus in the shower the other day. Right, okay. I was in the shower thinking about Miley Cyrus. I wasn't thinking about Miley Cyrus in the shower. Okay, I was in the shower. I was fully naked, but I was thinking about a fully clothed Miley Cyrus, if you can imagine such a thing. I was in the shower naked. Miley Cyrus, who I was imagining, couldn't have had more clothes on. She was dressed as like a pantomime horse. But the thing with Miley Cyrus is she's getting a bad name for herself. And what I'd like to see her do with this twerking is use it for the betterment of mankind or humanitarian purposes. And I struggle to come up with an example of how she could use twerking in such a manner. Well, okay, imagine the scenario with me. We're in like this ancient catacombs, it's like an ancient civilization in a tomb. Okay, and there's this old sort of English professor. And he's like, I have studied these ruins for years and years now. I finally get to glimpse on them. And what a privilege it is that I'm here with my research assistant, Miley Cyrus. And Miley Cyrus walks out, and she's like that. Jeepers, Professor. This tomb is mighty spooky. Yes, Miley. Why, look, Miley. On the wall, there's some hieroglyphs, but they're very dusty. If only there was some way that we could get the dust off this wall. Don't worry, Professor, I can help. Miley Cyrus goes to the wall. Bring, 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 bring. Twerk and the dust is gone. Right? So, why, Miley, that was fantastic. If you're twerking, now I can read the hieroglyphs. Oh my, Miley. It seems that you've awoken the Pharaoh and you've angered him. The Pharaoh doesn't understand your twerking. The ancient Pharaoh only understands episodes of Last of the Summer Wine. So the Pharaoh's chasing them, and Miley Cyrus and the Professor are running away, and they come to a split, and there's like two pathways they can go down, and Miley Cyrus uses a giant foam finger to distract the Pharaoh whilst they run out the other way. So I said to this guy that had me in the bath, I said, I'll say something like that, okay? That's a young person's reference, I'll say something like that. And he said, do that, but be careful, as ironically, the Miley Cyrus bit will date faster than the Last of the Summer Wine bit. Miley Cyrus, people say she makes evil records. Well, there are other evil records out there. I was in a second-hand record shop and I found this genuine record. This is Bernard Manning sings 40 all-time party sing-along classics. Okay? Now, Bernard Manning was a comedian in the late 70s, and all his stuff was sort of about ethnic minorities. So when I bought this record, I had to buy another record with it to prove I wasn't racist. And so what I bought was, I bought this Big Black record, thinking, Big Black, that must be by black guys, but turns out Big Black are like three white guys. So now, this album's called Songs About Fucking, okay? So now, the guy at the Oxfam Music Shop thinks I'm a racist and a misogynist. And, you know, I took this record home, and it's an odd feeling to be disappointed that it's not more racist. Okay? Because the thing is, he's got quite a good singing voice, Bernard Mann. Okay? And when I bought this record, the guy in the Oxfam music shop, he said to me, over Christmas, Jim Davidson had been in the shop, right? Jim Davidson had just done a panto, right? And he said Jim Davidson bought one of his own records, okay? And when the shopkeeper said, "Do you want a bag for that?" Jim Davidson apparently said no and walked out holding his own face under his arm. And that reminded me of a time when I was a young man and I was in the town and I saw the lead singer from Cannibal Corpse wearing a Cannibal Corpse t-shirt. And I don't associate that kind of arrogance with death metal. So what I did was I ran home and I tore up my Cannibal Corpse ticket, which was difficult because it was made of human flesh. It was sort of like, you know, the Billy Bear slices of ham. It was sort of like that, but less repulsive. Billy Bear slices of ham were introduced by American GIs after the war because Britain had eaten all its indigenous bears as part of the war effort. So anyway, this is an evil record. The previous... Oh right, and the thing, right, Cannibal Corpse lead singer wearing Cannibal Corpse t-shirt, right? There's an unspoken rule when you go to gigs, right? And that's that you don't wear the same fucking t-shirt that you're going to see, right? The point of gigs is that you get the shit kicked out of you and it's all in good fun. And what I do is I take it to extremes, okay? I go in costume. I went to see The Prodigy, right? And I went to see The Prodigy dressed up as a female canine. And when that song came on, they all smacked me up and it was all in good fun. Right? Or another time, I went to see Public Enemy and I went dressed as Phil the Power Taylor. And when that song came on, they all fighted me and it was all in good fun. Or another time, I went to see NWA and I went dressed as a law enforcement officer. And they all had really angry sex with me. Now, the previous most evil record I had in my collection was this record. This is a record by Norwegian black metal group Mayhem. Right? And I'll give you some background on Mayhem if you don't know your Norwegian black metal. Mayhem had a lead singer called Dead, okay? And Dead shot himself in the head, right? And another band member called Euronymous found the body and took a Polaroid of it, and that picture became a live bootleg album cover, okay? And apparently what Euronymous also did, right, was he took pieces of Dead's dead skull and he made it into a necklace, right? And he took pieces of Dead's dead brain and apparently made it into like a stew, right? And right, the other thing about Mayhem, right, is that Euronymous and this other guy who's featured on this record called VIII, right? What they plan to do on the release of this album is blow up the church on the front cover, okay? Now say what you want about Norwegian black metal, it does have a unique sense of PR campaigning. And another thing that Mayhem did was Euronymous was actually murdered by VIII. So on this record, right, you've got both the killer and the victim on the same record. And another thing Mayhem did was apparently once they fed Billy Bear meat to orphans. Mayhem are so evil, I only made one of those things up. Mumford and Sons, they were not. Yeah. So, these are evil records. But then, I found the most evil record I've ever found. This one here, The Crankies Go to Hollywood. Okay? There they are, The Crankies. And on the back, you have such classics as Granny Cranky Meets the Men from Mars, Kelly Cranky Ghosties, Crankies Go to Hollywood, aka The Crankies Rap, and a song called Reggae Love Song, which is more racist than anything on that Bernard Manning record. The crankies. Disgusting. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I come from an island, and this island is going to die out because of a vindictive pizza maker. I'll tell you what happened. On our island, due to a clerical error, we sacrificed all the women to the volcano, right? And then there's no women left on this island. And we're simple peoples, we don't know anything about the city. Right? All we knew about the city was from the sailors' pornography that used to float up on shore. And if you've ever seen one of these pornography films, there's a lot of breedable women in the city. Right? So my mission was to go to the city and find some breedable females and save the island, okay? Now, who's the person in these pornography films that gets the women? It's the pizza delivery boy, isn't it? So the pizza delivery boy sort of became like this god icon on the island. He was like this sort of demigod of sexual potency, right? So my job was to come to the city, get a job as a pizza delivery boy, find some breedable women, and take them back to the city. Alright? So, I'm working as this pizza delivery guy, and nothing's much happening, and then, right, I finally meet this girl, right? I say to this girl, "You're amazing. I want to breed with you in order to save my island." And she says to me, "I can't because my Christian God won't allow it." Ooh. So, I came up with a plan. The next time she orders a pizza, right, I'll get Vinny in the kitchen, right, to make the pizza look like the face of Jesus, right? She'll take it as a sign, and we can get down to some serious breeding. So she orders this pizza the next time. 40 minutes or less, Vinny, make a pizza, face of Jesus. I go to her house, she says, "There's a face in this pizza." I say, "It's Jesus, let's get down to some serious mating." She says, "No, this is Fidel Castro." Jesus didn't smoke a cigar. Oh, so what must have happened was Vinny must have been in the kitchen and been smoking, and one fell in the box. There is actually a sex move I learned called the Bay of Pigs, and that's from a film called Cuban Quattro Pussy Punta with pizza. So, she orders a pizza the next week. So I say to Vinny, "Vinny, make us pizza, face of Jesus, 40 minutes or less, deliver it to her house." She says, "There's a face in this pizza." I say, "It's a sign, let's get down to some serious mating." She said, "No, this isn't Jesus, this is Blackbeard the pirate." Jesus didn't associate with a parrot. So I thought, so what must have happened was Vinny must have been making a pizza in the kitchen, playing Pollywhacker Cracker, and the bird must have fallen in the box. Right? There is an actual sex move I know. I saw it in one of these films. It's called the Jolly Roger, and that's from a Pizza Pirate Pussy Party. So she orders another pizza the next week. Okay? Same thing. Vinny, face of Jesus, in this pizza, please. So, 40 minutes or less, deliver it. She says, there's a face in this pizza. I say, "It's a sign, let's get out to some breeding." She says, "No, this is Aslan the lion." A metaphor for Jesus, but not Jesus himself. So what must have happened is Vinny must have been making a pizza in the kitchen, right? Dropped acid, and made the pizza. There is an actual sex move I learned, and it's called Mr. Bumness, and that's from a film called Laying Pizza Bitch in Wardrobe. So, she orders another pizza. Right? Same thing, Vinny, get it right this time, 40 minutes or less, deliver the pizza. She says, "There's a face in this pizza." I say, "It's a sign, let's get down to some serious mating." She said, "This isn't Jesus, this is Christmas Man." And I said, "Suge Knight," and she said, "No, it's Santa Claus." Ooh, she has the same birthday with Jesus, but not Jesus himself. The only other thing that connects them is that they both don't exist. Oh, what, too soon? So, show us another pizza next week. Then you get like, this time, man, my island's on the line here. Makes pizza, 4 minutes or less, deliver it to her house. There's a place in this pizza. It's a sign, let's get down to some serious meeting. She said, no, this is Charles Darwin, the enemy of Jesus. And she threw me out of the house. And because of that, my island is going to die because of a vindictive pizza maker. Okay? Now look, see that bit there with the Jesus, right? I don't really want to offend anybody, right? I never set out to offend people. I did do this one routine once, and it did cause some upset. I'll go through it with you, okay? Black boxes on planes are orange. Right? That's because orange is a very unnatural colour. Nothing else occurs naturally orange in nature, apart from oranges. That's why oranges are called oranges. This is also how O.J. Simpson got away with murdering his wife. Because as Johnny Cochran pointed out, any man called Orange Juice Simpson would presumably have to look like the Tango Man. And thus, his client was just a victim of institutionalised racism. So black boxes on planes are orange. That's why the PILF would explode 747s over Jaffa, Israel. Because nobody wants to wade through charred bodies and chocolate. Actually, they say the 6-Day War is actually about whether you can classify Jaffa cake as a cake or a biscuit. They say that, don't they? So anyway, I did this routine, and somebody came up to me afterwards and said, now, that whole oranges being an unnatural colour, an unnatural thing, that could be taken as a dig at Protestants. And it's not, okay? It's not. I'm not that type of comedian, you know, oh, have you seen these Protestants marching around wearing sashes like a less orange hen party? You know, I'm not one of those comedians. I don't clap that, because I'm not that type of comedian. You know, there are people in my family are Protestant. There are friends of mine that are Protestant. There are some of the women I've loved have been Protestant. I wouldn't make that joke. If I was going to make a joke about Protestants, I would say, black boxes on planes are orange. That's why when John Denver crashed into a Masonic lodge, the results were inconclusive. So I did this bit, and I added that little bit, just to clear it up, that I'm not trying to offend Protestants. And then another person came up to me and said, yes, you've dealt with that, but it could also be taken, the whole orange is an unnatural thing, as an attack on red-haired people. And it's not, right? I'm not that kind of comedian. Have you seen these red-haired people marching around wearing sun cream like a less tanned hen party? I'm not that type of comedian. If I was going to do a joke about red-haired people, I would say something like, black boxes on planes are orange. That's why when 3/6 of Leonard Skinner crashed into 1/5 of the Girls Alouds, the results were inconclusive. I wouldn't do that joke because I actually like the red-haired one from Girls Aloud, Nicola Roberts. She campaigned that there should be an age restriction on tanning salons, so I have a lot of time for Nicola Roberts from the Girls Alouds. I wouldn't do that. And so I said this little bit, and somebody else came up to me and said, you've dealt with the Protestantism thing, and you've dealt with the red-haired thing. But it could be taken, the whole oranges are unnatural thing, as an attack on orangutans. And I just fucking lost it, because I fucking hate orangutans. These fucking Borneo fuckers. You've seen them, fucking these orangutans marching around on horseback with machine guns like a less well-armed hen party. I fucking hate orangutans. You know, fuck the orangutans. I'm the endangered species here. There's a black box in my life, a giant black monolith that I throw my bone to, and that's called loneliness. Doesn't matter whether it's cake or biscuit as long as it's soggy. But look, so I don't mean to offend people. I've injured myself in the 3 years I've been doing stand-up. Okay? The first time I injured myself was in January 2012. If you remember January 2012, that was the start of the Arab Spring. It being January, it's a very cold spring. I presume that's why they were so angry. So, but I had done this routine the night before. I had drawn a gun on my leg, and I had wrote the word gun on the other leg. You had to be there, admittedly. And what I did after that gig was I went out and I got drunk, right? And I Tipp-Ex'd my legs, but that's a side issue. Ultimately, it's comedy that injured me. So I'm in the reception, right? And in the reception they're playing Paid in Full by Eric B. and Rakim. Eric B. and Rakim. Right? And I see this girl, right? And we sort of make eyes at each other and it's like, oh, this is nice. But that was it, nothing else happened. The second time I injured myself doing stand-up was in September 2012. Now, if you remember September 2012, the Arab Spring was still going on. The seasons in the Islamic calendar are very long. That's why they're currently at 1445. If you're wondering, the current Hebrew year is 5,774. But that's because they skipped Christmas, isn't it? So I'm in the doctors, and what happened was I had a hairline fracture in my foot, right? Because the night before I had done this gig, in which I got the whole audience to jump with me and scream "fuck the Tories," and I landed awkward. You had to be there, okay? Right? So I'm in the doctors, and in the doctors they're playing "It's Like That" by Run DMC, Reverend Run, DMC, Jam Master Jay, okay? And I see that same girl, right, from a few months ago. So we start talking, and I don't know if you've ever tried to chat up someone in a doctor's office. It's very awkward, you know, what have you got? You know, where do you start? But anyway, right, so we went out to get a coffee, and we agreed to, we'd go on a date together, okay? Go on a double date. She bring her pal, I bring my pal, right? So we went out a couple of nights later on this double date, and so her and her pal, they go off to the bathroom to do whatever it is that women do together in bathrooms. Right? And me and my pal, we noticed that on the back of this girl that I fancied, right, she had this large tattoo. Right? It was like a sort of satanic altarpiece sort of thing. Right? So me and my pal, we started joking about, and we're like, right, that satanic tattoo on her back, right? Imagine you were like fucking her, right? And you're looking down at this tattoo, right? And then the tattoo starts like swirling, and it turns into a vortex, right? And it starts creeping along her back, like down her arse, and then it's like on your dick, right? And it's like, and then it like climbs up to your heart and stops your heart, right? And then out of this vortex on this lassie's back, this little goblin pops out and goes, "Are you enjoying yourself?" You know, so me and my pal were joking about that, and then the girls came back and we stopped talking about that. So I started going out with this girl, right? And it was nice, it was pleasant, we got to know each other. And what happened was, we're watching this documentary together. We're sitting on the sofa, and the programme was called My Tattoo Hell, right? And there was a lull in the conversation, and I decided to fill that silence with, I said to this girl, do you remember when we first went out together? The first time I saw that tattoo on your back. I should find this funny. So I told her what me and my pal had said, and she wasn't happy, you know. And, you know, it upset her. I feel, it was me that did that. I did that because I was trying to be funny. And maybe because of that, or maybe a few other reasons, we stopped going out, right? So anyway, the third time I went to the doctor for stand-up was shortly after that. It was December 2012, okay? And that was the Mayan apocalypse. But it didn't really matter, because my world had ended anyway, right? So I'm in the reception, and what had happened, right, was I had tore an intercostal muscle in my ribs. What happened was the night before I did a gig, and I jumped up on this table and I started doing an impersonation of Morrissey, and you had to be there, okay? Right. So I'm in the doctors, and they're playing Tears by the Wu-Tang Clan. The RZA, the Jizza, Old Dirty Bastard, Inspector Deck, Raekwon the Chef, You God, Ghostface Killer, and METHOD Man. Now, I'm in the reception, and I'm alone. And comedy is tragedy plus time. And I'm thinking, I've been in the doctors 3 times this year. So maybe there's 10 minutes in this. Because jokes do hurt people, okay? I don't want to hurt that guy's feelings, okay? And I know that I've happened to write myself into a corner with this material, because the only satisfying punchline to this material would be for me to seriously injure myself, which I'll do in just a minute. Now, I would just like to apologise to her. If she's watching, I'd just like to apologise. So this is how I'm going to end the show. I'm going to seriously injure myself jumping into this glass, unless something stops me. So, I'm going to do it, and then what is this? Oh my God! Jesus! Oh Jesus! Jesus! Oh Jesus! Oh you rat fucker! Oh Jesus!
I'm afraid you're sorry with that. Sorry. I'm afraid you are mistaken. I am famed orangutan breeder. I'm a popular erotic sci-fi novelist and part-time member of the Texas. I am the John Knox from the Reformation, of course, very popular here in Scotland. I'm the daddy of Protestants. Okay, I have this message for you.
A message?
You ordered a pizza, right? Yes.
I didn't. Somebody must have ordered a pizza from you.
There is a pizza here.
Okay, what does it say?
There is a message, dearest Nev. Please know, I never meant to hurt you. I care for you so deeply, so deep. Deeper than the deepest deep pan pizza. The marinara trench, of course. But my affections for you went unnoticed. You only had eyes for your Jesus whore. If you wanted pizzas featuring a religious icon, you should have visited our rivals at Jesus of Nazareth. It is against my business code of ethics to represent any prophet or deity in pizza form. True, I did do St. Nicholas Santa a momentary lapse of judgment. One done because of my feelings for you. I couldn't allow you to be stolen away from me by the aforementioned Jesus whore. I loved you. I love disregarded like so many mushrooms picked off the mozzarella. I will help your arm of our relationship. I tried to forget you, but thoughts of you still run through me like hot dogs in the crust. If you still feel the same way, I'll be waiting for you atop the 4th rail bridge for a candlelit pizza dinner for 2, like our favorite Dr. Oetker's pizza restaurant. The advertisement, knife and fork optional. Do you remember how we used to watch our taped copy of this most romantic of all pizza advertisements in Deutschland? Holding hands in the kitchen? Truly, it's a notebook of pizza advertisements. My undying love, Viniessa, natürlich.
So all that time, Vinny was just, she had eyes for me.
That is correct, yes.
I feel like such a fool.
Pizza delivery, right?
So Jesus, or whoever you are,
Yes, of course, I am the John Knox.
I think you should,
This is what you look like. Trust me, that's true.
I think maybe,
I am also a music cure.
I think maybe you should take me too.
Yes,
NAS.
I believe this will be interesting. Come on, let's go.
So, take me to her. can't end a show like that, because it's the year of the referendum. All comedy shows are contractually obliged to talk about it. So, I want to tell you a little story, and that will be us tonight. A couple of months ago, I was in Edinburgh doing a bit of stand-up, and another comedian said to me, when you're in Edinburgh, Nev, don't use the C word, okay? Don't use the C word. And I don't really use the C word a lot in the act. I do in real life, but that's because I'm Glaswegian. Glasgow is the only city where the sentence, that C word's a dick, could exist. But generally I don't say the C word a lot in the act. And I said, why can't you use the C word in Edinburgh? And this other comedian said, because Edinburgh is full of dirty English cunts. Now, I fucking hate these dirty English cunts. I can't wait until these dirty English cunts fuck off back to their own country. You know, I can't wait for independence. And we can see the back of these dirty English cunts. I hate all English people. Edinburgh's already full of Edinburgh cunts. It doesn't need any more English cunts there. Now, that little rant is what they call satire. If you happen to agree with any of the opinions mentioned, you're a bigoted Scottish cunt. The thing is, I mean, there are good English people. I have a list of them here. Jon Snow from Channel 4 News, he's English, I like him. Brian Cox, that's Brian Cox, the BBC physicist guy, not Brian Cox, the Scottish actor. Brian Cox, the Scottish actor, seems like a bit of a twat. But yeah, Brian Cox, the English guy, he's good, I like him, he's English. And Liam from The Prodigy, in fact Keith from The Prodigy, in fact all of The Prodigy, they're all English, aren't they? And you know, I'm not saying that independence shouldn't happen. In many ways I think it should happen. But with it, I think we should use it as an opportunity to open a hand of friendship to the rest of the world. You know, embrace peoples of all colour, creed and nationality, even Edinburgh fans. We should be wary of extreme nationalism, because as you know, you can't spell country without C-U-N-T, but you also can't spell it without T-R-Y. Thank you for coming out tonight. That's been the show. Thank you so much. I love you all. It's a Friday night, the show's called Rave, so if we could just dim the lights, Malky, please. And if anybody out there feels in the need to dance, please do so, and maybe these messages of peace will reach out into the solar system for non-royal family aliens, some good aliens. So here we go. And if you want to dance, please, this isn't a joke, please, there's no more jokes. Okay? This is purely about yous enjoying yourself. It's Friday night, we should all go have a drink afterwards. So thank you for coming. I've been Nev, this has been Rave. Seriously, I love you all.